appreciate the time that you take to talk with us and give us some updates. And I know the world's kind of steadying out a little bit, like we talked about before we were live, but how was your week? Did you have a nice Mother's Day?
Well, yeah, I was able to see my mom briefly, obviously yesterday, which was very nice. Want to wish all the moms out there a happy belated Mother's Day. That was yesterday, but all in all, it was good that I was able to see her. So hope you had a nice Mother's Day as well.
I absolutely did. And I think that people try to, with masks or distancing, at least reach out to their moms one way or another. So we're doing the best that we can, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes, without a doubt.
How was the rest of your week?
As I was reviewing the call volume over the course of the week, and then this morning as well, one of the officers here does a breakdown for me every Monday morning. And as I was looking at things, a lot of the same themes that I've been discussing over the last few weeks that we've been getting together are continue to hold true. We've had a number of people that called in either suspicious person or suspicious vehicle complaints. And I really appreciate those. And you might question why, because in my mind, those are situations where people are just questioning, does that person, should they be there? This business is closed, or that location, no one's supposed to be there because we know it's not an essential business. So someone has called in just for us to check that out. And I'm happy to report none of those instances have turned anything criminal at all. But we've got officers on duty 24/7, and it's not a problem for us to check those things out. We did have several mental health calls this week, as well as a number of domestic disputes. I know that I've talked about those two things a great deal over the last few weeks, and those are issues that continue to be prevalent in the community. I would again reiterate, if anyone is having a difficult time with some mental health issues and you need some services, you can call 211, and there's a number of services available to assist you in that. I'll keep saying we know that this is a difficult time. Feelings of isolation and on the news is just a lot of negativity, some political, some scientific, and those two things, there's not a lot of positive going on. A lot of distractions that we normally might have, whether some people might be involved in sports and like to do those. Other people might like to get out and socialize with friends and maybe go hang out and go listen to a band or whatever else you might like to do. Chances are you're not able to do those things as much. And that can certainly lead into some mental health issues. Those feelings are 100% normal. I think it's important for people to know that. Yeah. And the help's available. And as far as domestic disputes, we've got a great resource here in Onondaga County in the Syracuse area in Vera House. And Randy Bregman and her team just do a wonderful job. And we can't say enough about the partnership that our community has with Vera House, as well as the services they provide. So you can certainly contact the police department at 24 hours a day. 211 is another resource for domestic dispute incidents. But if something's going on or you've had a domestic dispute, you need to call 911 so our agency can respond, or a law enforcement agency if you're outside the village, and make sure that everyone there is safe.
Right. And that brings up a point that we were talking about too, Mike, as far as people are starting to get bored. They're starting to get edgy, irritated, agitated, and they want life to go back to normal. And I think you had mentioned an article that you were reading as far as a society, when is our end? What determines when the end of this is? Would you share that article with us, please?
Yeah, sure. It was last night, and I was reading an article. It was very well written, and it talked about how pandemics end. And it went back through history and talked about many different pandemics, some that were just unbelievably bad, some that took out a third of the population in Europe at one time. And it mentioned that pandemics sometimes end scientifically, where the virus kind of burns itself out or is solved medically through a like smallpox is an example where they developed a vaccine. But then there's other occasions where society kind of says, we've had, enough, to your point, and wants to get back to what their normal was, and not the new normal, but what their old normal was, and want to start doing those different things. And we've seen some of those things across the country in different groups protesting what various governors or elected officials might put into place for different regulations or quarantine orders. So it was a very interesting and well-written article on people's feelings and their thoughts, and how things come to an end. How this is going to end is unknown at this point. Obviously, we as the police department and law enforcement agencies across the state, we didn't ask to be the enforcers of social distancing guidelines that have been enacted by, whether it be the governor or the county executive or whomever. But in reality, you think about it, we're the only governmental agency that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Those law enforcement agencies, all the other ones traditionally are Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. So we're going to get those calls on the weekend. We're going to be the ones that are going to be having to respond and deal with those types of situations. We understand that. And we appreciate the public's cooperation in those things. But, as we've talked before, and I've said before, in 50 years, this is going to be a history lesson that in schools, however they're fashioned, and I do believe there'll still be a brick and mortar school system in 50 years, contrary to maybe what the governor just had to say. But I think there'll be one. They're going to be talking about this. We are literally living a history lesson right now, and it's very interesting, without a doubt.
No, I certainly agree. I tell my kids that all the time. I said, it'll be interesting to learn how your kids learn about this time, let alone their kids learn about it and what gets said and what's been taken out of it. But yeah. And for the most part, when we're talking, unfortunately, is a lot of the same things, watching the social distancing, domestic violence being an issue. And we're hopefully going to come out of it, and that's not like the new normal everybody talks about, that we do find a way within the restrictions that we're living in to have some relief from those things, to get outside. I noticed the golf courses, they were had a lot of people. You go to Green Lakes out there in Fayetteville area, and people are out walking and stuff. But I'm hearing in the community, I'm sure you are as well, people are trying to find the boundaries, maybe stretching the boundaries a little bit with the social distancing, how to get together, maybe have people over and spread blankets all over the yard, and to at least like holler and talk to people, that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to put you on the spot and answer if that's doable or not doable, but I think that's the frustration level that people are at, which in my mind, at least, I don't know, it's forward thinking, I guess. Might sound silly, but forward thinking sometimes can take your mind off the problems as well. So.
Yeah, and we all have friends. Most people, are social by nature. Obviously, some folks like to kind of be alone a little bit, but most of us enjoy spending time with family and good friends, and that's kind of been taken away. And I can certainly appreciate folks wanting to get together. As I was talking with some people yesterday about, geez, we're able to see your mom, and stood at the end of the driveway, and people were in the garage, and kind of keeping that distance there. And my parents are 82 and 81, and I just dropped off dinner to them and said hello to my mother with a mask on, and it was gone very, very quickly and briefly. And I know that upsets her, but it's the safest thing right now, and there'll be a time when we can spend more time together. But I certainly appreciate people's frustration and the desire to want to do that, and those are all natural feelings, and we understand those as well. And to reiterate, it's not a job we asked for to try and get these calls on social distancing or anything else, but if we do get called, we're going to have to go respond. And as I've said before, we try and take a common sense approach, and we absolutely don't want to have to be involved in any enforcement type of activity, and that's not our plan at all.
No, and hopefully most people, I'm sure, are respecting that.
They are.
So as the chief and I talked about right before we got on air, it's good and bad. There's not a whole lot of updates happening right now in the village. people are kind of settling into that pattern. So I believe the first Monday in June, right, Steve, we're going to touch base again and just kind of check in. That being said, if anything exciting happens, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you on a random Wednesday or something, but
And yes, I will definitely do that. And as I said it before, I'll keep saying it. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you on Mondays. We move to now maybe the first Monday of the month for people to tune in, hear what's going on, for me to give an update to the community. I think that would be a great thing, and I would look forward to doing that as we move forward. I think it'd be a good opportunity for folks to hear what we're doing, what's going on at the police department. I think they might be surprised to hear some of the things we do and are involved in on a regular basis, and we can bring people up to speed. And then obviously, if folks have questions, they can send them in, and we'd be more than happy to answer those and address those as a group, with the group.
no, and I appreciate it. I'm sure you have as well. I've actually received a couple cards at the Heart Home Community Room with people thanking, not knowing who to send the cards to, but just saying thanks for the updates and the appreciation. And I've learned, like, I didn't know you did fingerprinting. There's a lot of things that I've learned in these interviews that I wasn't aware that the police department did. So I'm sure, ongoing the first Monday of the month, there's things like that. It's just a way to get it out there, because I'm sure it's written. I just never knew it.
Well, and I'll say probably our most popular service that we do for village residents only is we do house checks, meaning that if you go on vacation, you can contact our department during our normal business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Let our clerical staff know that you're going to be going away from your home for a week or two on vacation, or even longer. And during the time you're away, we'll have an officer check your home on a number of occasions. And then when you get back, I actually send our residents a letter letting them know how many times their house was checked while they're gone.
Oh, wow.
I've had people come in and tell me that of all the benefits of living in the village, that is by far their most favorite. And these are individuals that are in a position to travel frequently, and they do. But for them, it's reassuring to know that someone from the police department is actually going to get out, walk around their house and check it. And in the wintertime, we might not walk around just because it's easy to check if there's footprints in the snow.
Sure.
And if there aren't, then we don't have to worry about anyone having broken in. Otherwise, we do check the houses and make sure everything's secure. That's something that we're still doing. Not that people are going on vacation right now, probably, but when this breaks and when it does end, whenever that might be, I certainly encourage all village residents to take advantage of that service. It's something that we're happy to provide.
Yeah, that's nice. It's one less thing to worry about when you're trying to enjoy yourself, or if you're going to take care of somebody in your family and you're going to be gone for a while. It's a less worry. So, well, that's great, because that's just, like I said, one thing that I wasn't aware that you guys were doing, and I'm sure there's a lot more that we'll learn over the course of Monday updates as we keep moving forward. Thank you, Chief.
Certainly. Now that you're a village resident, you can take advantage of that.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Too funny. So I will enjoy the rest of your day, and I will, I'm sure I'll see you around the village, but I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Chief.
I look forward to it. Bye for now.